You know, on election night, you'll remember NewsNation was the first network to project that Donald Trump would be the winner in the presidential race. Now, first to say Republicans will keep control of the House of Representatives. All of this, we go back to the trusty big board, thanks to our election partners, Decision Desk HQ. By the numbers here, 219, 210 for the Republicans is where we stand, with some races still to be counted, or some votes still to be counted. GOP control is checked off there when you get to 218. A lot of ways that they did it, right? There were some losses for Republicans around here, New York City suburbs, California. There were some losses that were Republican seats that went back to the Dems. But the other way around, I mean, just as an example, I thought it was interesting what happened in the state of Pennsylvania. We were so focused on the presidential race there, but a couple of congressional districts, 7 and 8, right next to each other there, went to the Republicans. Susan Wild, the Democrat, lost to Ryan McKenzie in Pennsylvania 7. And then in Pennsylvania 8, you also had Matt Cartwright losing his seat. So two of many examples where we might have a House of Representatives that, margin-wise anyway, looks a lot like the current one. The other thing we want to focus on here for a moment is the United States Senate, which we've known for some time will be controlled by the Republicans. 52-47 is where we stand right now. But I bring it up to show you that DDHQ has still not made an official call, it looks like, in the state of Pennsylvania. McCormick's leading Casey, as we've been talking about for days. Right now, it's about 0.5%, with 98% of the votes in, and some votes still outstanding in places like Montgomery County and the Philly suburbs. A red area like York County still has some votes out. But while we've seen some talk back and forth about whether McCormick should now be considered as the senator-elect from Pennsylvania, not yet by our estimation, because DDHQ still has that one on the board. Now, Scott Tranter is kind of the man behind the curtain on all of this. He's Director of Data Science at Decision Desk HQ. Should get a curtain. Pennsylvania, can you explain first, before we talk about the House a little bit, which you've now called, what's going on in Pennsylvania and why Senator Casey may still have at least a slight chance of winning there?
Sure. So when everyone went to bed last night, potential Senator McCormick had about a 40,000 vote lead, but that was dropped down to 35,000 votes this morning, because now what Pennsylvania is doing is they are counting provisional, Uwakava, and late delivering mail votes. Those are between 100 and 140,000. We're not sure how they're going to break, so Casey still has a shot. All right,
so some other places have called this race, but we have you've proven that we're going to put our trust in you, and you just explained why, because everybody said, NewsNation, why are you calling the races so early on election night? Well, now we're waiting. So if you thought, and we were right, Scott was right, and DDHQ on election night, my feeling is we're probably right to wait here. Now, U.S. House of Representatives have put it back up there. That control has been called ahead of most of the others here. 219, as I said, 210. Talk about how it came down in the House at the end and what you were watching to make the call official.
Well, it came down to some votes out of Cochise County, Arizona for Arizona 6, Juan Ciscomani. That was the seat to put us over. And then shortly after that, some votes out of Riverside, California to get us to 219 with Ken Calvert. And that's kind of how we thought it was going to go, Connell, when we were pre-talking about the election together. I know I said, look, the House is going to take 4 or 5 days, maybe a week, and it's going to be these California, Arizona seats, and that's exactly what it was. There's still 6 on the board, and we'll kind of see where this final number lands. But I'm thinking about 220, 221 GOP seats when this is all said and done.
Right, so pretty similar to this current makeup of the Congress. It's almost going to be a repeat, just a few seats that are different, right?
Exactly.
Let me go back to the presidential race just for a moment to close this out, because obviously we know the results because you told us about it first. But the popular vote margins now, Trump a little under, at least what I see here, 50%. So it's 49-7, 47-6 is what we have for Harris. So he has more votes than last time, 75-1 versus Harris there, just under 72 million. But he's still going to win the popular vote. It'll just be a little bit more. Is there more narrowing expected? Do you have any idea how this will end up?
Yeah, we think there's anywhere from 3 to 4 million votes in California still to be counted. Harris is going to win California, but the margin is going to be important for that popular vote count, and still quite a bit to be counted up in Oregon and a little bit in Washington. So as you pointed out, it looks like Donald Trump is going to have the popular vote. We're just trying to figure out what the final margin is, given that a lot of the vote is going to come out of California.
Trifecta, Senate, House, White House, and it's just a question to get to 52 or 53 in the Senate. Thank you, Scott, as always. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.